Hey guys, we are here, day 2 of the LA Fit Expo here in Los Angeles. And I'm here with Chris DiVecchio.
Got it right.
Oh, I got it right the first time.
First time's a charm.
Oh, well, that's pretty cool,
Yeah.
And we are also going to be on the 𝗦𝗽liche Brant Show. So if you've tuned in, that's what you're listening to. And I'm Monica. So make sure you subscribe, like, comment, and ring the bell so you get more notifications of this awesome show and awesome interviews like Chris.
Hey.
I'm so excited to get to talk to you, and especially because
Thank
you
you.
brought me a present.
Yeah, it's great to be here.
Thank you.
You got your mobility wall in hand.
Well, okay, so it's kind of heavy, to pick up right now, but I'm looking forward to coming and seeing the demonstration. But can you please tell me what you're doing here at LA Fit Expo
Yep.
and what the mobility wall is?
Absolutely. So mobility wall is the evolution of foam rolling. If you know it, foam rolling's been around for 20 plus years. Traditionally, foam rolling has been done on the ground, on the floor,
Right.
which really
Right.
only affords you the ability to leverage downward pressure and
Right.
gravity, which is really difficult for most people. If you've ever foam rolled before, you know how challenging that can be to try to help support your weight with your wrists and shoulders. And so after being in the fitness industry for over 20 years and working with clients all over the world, mobility and foam rolling is part of my protocols. And a lot of people just aren't compliant with the homework that I encourage them to do because it's so difficult and cumbersome to manipulate on the ground. And so
Right,
I thought
right.
that one of the ways that I can be more advantageous with getting my clients down the line to their progress is creating a product that makes it more encouraging for this habit of self-care. And so taking a product like Mobility Wall puts foam rolling in between your door frames so you're in a vertical position that allows you to leverage inward and upward pressure using your legs. And it makes it much easier to control the pressure. We put you in a doorway so you have 3-dimensional space where you can mobilize tissue at the same time while you're applying pressure. And it just gives you access to areas of your body that you normally would not be able to target if you were on the ground, such as your neck and traps and those areas in particular. So we're taking foam rolling and just really evolving it to a place where we believe in the next year or two, getting on the ground and foam rolling, those days are over.
Well, it's a couple things came to mind. First of all, I had a chance to interview Clark, who I know is in your booth, the most trusted name in fitness.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he said that it's foam rolling on steroids, so censored Clark. But so I kind of got the idea about that because I got to interview him today. But one of the things that comes to mind is I started foam rolling, which, the old time you did have that piece of foam, but it evolved into this hard piece of material so that it wouldn't get squishy, right?
Right.
So I don't know, that's not foam anymore. That's hard. And now they're putting like the little knobs and stuff on it, which I love all that stuff. But what happened for me is I'm a real intense athlete. So everything that I do, I like to be like, I'm a sprinter, like hard, intensity, fast, and I'm strong. And so I was doing all of this rolling like you're talking about on the ground and no big deal. And all of a sudden I started helping, as I got familiar with it, I started sharing it with my mom, who's, she's now in her 70s, but this is probably when she was in her 60s. And just different people that I was working with, and I hosted these women's events. And I noticed what you're saying, like they didn't have the strength on the ground to even sometimes hold themselves up in order to do it. And then it would be painful for them, and then they couldn't absorb the pain and hold themselves up. And so I started understanding, like you're saying, it's really hard. And just for me, it wasn't hard. But then I saw the people and I was like, wow, it's really hard. You had to start figuring out how to help people do those things and hold themselves up, and maybe not for as much time, and build up to it and have some tolerance for it. Because at first I'm like, I want the hardest thing, the one with the most knobs, and but it's not good for most people that don't think like that, or they're not ready for that. They're older or whatever the case. So I love the idea that you're standing, because like you said, you can put some pressure into it from your feet, from your legs, and you can not have to just lay your whole body or try to hold yourself up. That's awesome.
Yeah. And I think
concept.
it's because foam rolling and trigger point therapy is really effective technique.
Yes.
But if somebody can't do it effectively or creates too much pain, it builds this negative feedback loop that they then create this negative connotation, like, I don't want to do this. Their association with foam rolling is pain as opposed to relief or a release. Right. So with the mobility wall up in the doorway, like you said, you can do it from your feet. You can control the pressure and get really precise, almost prescriptive with trying to target those specific areas because you're not fighting gravity and downward pressure, which is really difficult to control.
Well, the other thing, Chris, is that I feel like I have learned how to roll all of my upper body, front and back.
Yep.
Which I know the back is really easy, but the front takes a little ingenuity, like how to get the roller here and there and maneuver your arm and all that. So, and that to me is probably the most important too, is getting, because we're all like so hunched over, right?
So that brings up a great point.
We need to open everything up. And if you're standing, it's way easier to get the front. And now you're not trying to manipulate something with your own strength.
Correct.
So I love it. I can't wait to come and try it.
Yeah.
And,
so one of the big
that
missions that we wanted to incorporate as well was education. And education can be a scary word sometimes because you think you want this to be more intuitive, right? Yeah. Like this should be just like plug and play,
use it?
right? But really, like you said, we're like an anterior rotated nation now because of sitting at the desk a lot. People sleep on their sides. We're texting on our phones, so our shoulders are rolled forward. And so a lot of times, if people have problems and pain in their neck and their back, they think it's their neck and their back that's the issue, and it's really tight pec muscle and tight front anterior delt muscles that are pulling the shoulders forward. So to your point, working some of those muscles on the front side can help release and give you more range of motion so you can strengthen the muscles on the back side. And so we bring a lot of that education through an app that we have that comes with the product.
Oh my gosh.
So
that is
so it walks you through, and inside the app there's 3 different modules.
So you can walk through it.
Everything. We cover every single muscle group in one module, and the next module we have activities. So if you're going to ride horses, play basketball, go surfing, you can click on any of those modules and they'll walk you through the pre and post movements that you would use Mobility Wall for. And then we have another module called conditions, which covers things like sciatica or tech neck or frozen shoulder. And so really takes people through this education process of common issues and conditions that people are suffering from to teach them how to really level up their self-care and start incorporating this as part of a daily habit.
Well, you just touched on a subject, horses, because my husband and I have a horse training business.
Yeah.
It's mostly my husband's, but I interact and do some things. But there's so many people there that need something like this that have no idea about how to care for their bodies and their riding. Like, I mean, there's days that I ride 8 horses in a day.
And for horse riding in particular, people oftentimes have tight adductors.
Yes.
And tight hip and tight TFL on the hips.
It pulls the low
and
back.
It pulls the low back. So
like,
being able to incorporate something like this pre and post riding to help loosen up those muscles and increase better hip mobility would be really effective so that people can ride more effectively, and then there's less tension and pain coming off of the horse as well. And building that habit would be a really helpful technique.
That's awesome. I love it because there's a lot. I'm already thinking of all the clients that we have and the trainers that I know that.
But even get the horses on the mobility wall.
Well, right. Well, the horses get chiropractic and massage, and the horses get more than the people do. Like the people don't do these things for themselves, and they do the little massage gun on them, and you're like, "Are you doing all that for you?" And like, well, no.
Well, animals, believe it or not, have been doing this longer than we have. Intuitively, oftentimes we see people posting memes on our social media handle of bears rubbing up against trees, right? Like they just intuitively and instinctually know that like when something doesn't feel right, they just rub. And really what they're doing is releasing fascia, right? Sometimes they're scratching because they feel something, but oftentimes they're releasing muscle tissue and fascia by rubbing up against something. You see this with horses, you see this with bears and all sorts of animals. Cats do it.
You just mentioned the word fascia. Why don't you explain to the viewers in case they don't know the word fascia?
Yeah, so fascia essentially is the webbing that encases all of our muscles around our entire body. And so oftentimes when you have a tight muscle, it's really the fascia that's squeezing down on the muscle that makes it feel tight. So this is why just static stretching isn't necessarily very effective increasing mobility and range of motion, because if the capsule that the muscle sits in is tight and restrictive, and you're stretching a muscle in a static form, then all you're really doing is just lengthening a muscle inside of a tight, constricted tube.
It's just gonna go right back.
Right? So creating some viscosity and just releasing and loosening the fascia opens up more breathing room where the muscle lives, so that not only will you get more length out of the muscle, but you also have more range of motion for the muscles to move. And so foam rolling, which is technically called myofascial release, the technique, and is really beneficial to help release the tension from the fascial capsule that is holding the muscle in place. So
I know I've been hitting the microphone and everything too.
I'm clumsy.
My hand's going crazy here. So is there fascia in the all the internal muscles, right?
Like the abdominal structure? Absolutely. Like the diaphragm is a really common place where people carry a lot of tension all along the rib cage, all on the solar plexus. It's actually an area I spend a lot of time releasing that, because we oftentimes hold our breath and we carry a lot of tension up, and so that pulls these shoulders forward even more when you carry a lot of tension along that rib cage. So there's things you can do to do self-release on the diaphragm and the solar plexus. I do it all the time.
Yeah, I have a little tool at home, and I get in there right underneath my rib cage.
Is it the hook?
While I lay down, and I just try. Yeah, I mean, and you know, I'll find spots that hurt a little more than others, and I just hold it, and then a little like friction, and then a little hold and pulse, and you feel it start releasing. Yeah. And then it releases the hips and on down, and it's just pretty cool.
It's amazing how connected the body is, and I think again with Mobility Wall, it really helps. It helps people really connect to their bodies, because this technique, being on your feet, allows you to go really slow and just really pay attention. And the users are getting all of the feedback, right? Like if you were going to get a massage, oftentimes I hear people complain saying, oh, the massage therapist is terrible. They didn't go deep enough, or they didn't find the right spots, right? So you wasted your money, right? But with Mobility Wall, you're the one who's controlling it, and you're also the one who's getting the feedback. Cool. So as you're working on it, you might feel like, oh, that's not the spot, that's not the spot. And because you can move so precise and with so much control, you can make these small little adjustments while you're getting that feedback and go, up, there it is. And now if you want more pressure, you can drive up and get more. If you want less, you can back off. So it really puts you into that driver's seat. And because you're getting all the feedback, you can make all of these nuances and adjustments along the way that will eventually teach you about your body. So as you keep coming back to it, you know exactly where to go every single time. And over time, as you're building that connection to your body, you can find yourself working your way out of these conditions and these issues much faster. So
I love it. I'm so excited because I've been doing roller stuff or fascial tissue release, like all these different little things for my feet. And so I'm so excited. So thank you for my gift.
Yeah, really my pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
We're gonna have to come down and check out
Absolutely,
the booth.
you got to come down. I want to give you a little demo
here at the Legendary Foods booth. And then you tried, which flavor did you try of Legendary Foods?
I think I did the cinnamon, the brown, or the brown sugar, the brown sugar one.
Brown sugar cinnamon, yeah.
Yeah, delicious.
I understand that's probably the top seller, and then the new blueberry flavor, which I haven't tried yet.
I love blueberries. I'll be all over that.
They've got 8 flavors, so they're all good.
Tastes just like the regular Pop-Tart.
Oh, delish. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Chris.
Thank you so much.
I'm not going to even try to pronounce your last name again, but can you tell people where they can find you, find Mobility Wall?
Yeah, find us at mobility_wall on Instagram. The name is Chris DiVecchio. You can find me personally. I have a health and wellness coaching business as well. I coach clients all around the world. And just come by our booth and check us out.
Love what you do, and get to see Clark there. I mean, who wouldn't want to come by?
Who wouldn't want to come? That's why we brought him in.
Right. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Thanks for tuning into the 𝗦𝗽liche Brant Show. We'll see you on the next show. Don't forget, subscribe, like, comment, and ring that bell.
Hi, I'm Ron with Legendary Foods. We're here at the LA Fit Expo today. We've got a pretty amazing booth, as you can see. We make the tasty pastry. It's got 20 grams of protein, 5 grams of net carbs, and it's for all the people out there that want to stay on their nutrition programs but don't want to blow it and still want to be able to eat a tasty treat. You can check us out at eatlegendary.com or on Instagram at Legendary Foods.